what's up, y'all? It is your boy, donjuan. I am back for another Unapologetically. Today, it's gonna be, let's just say, a free-for-all. It's not a new episode of the show, but I want to kind of give a precursor to the upcoming episode of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, plus some other things that have kind of happened. So let's just call this a review. A review of just current events and things like that. So first of all, I want to say thank you so much to everybody who's been subscribing. We are at like 11,000 subscribers. So thank you so much for subscribing. I have been meeting a lot of different people who subscribe to the channel. And I will say it is sincerely humbling to meet you all in person. And you guys give so much love. And I always say this every time I meet somebody new or every time I see somebody and they be like, I'll be watching the channel. I always have to say that is not taken for granted. I am sincerely humbled and thankful for all of that. Now, for the things that you guys have come here, because I know you came here because you wanted to hear my opinions on the things that have been happening. Let's start this off with a few different things that have happened this week. So, Jerry Springer passed away, y'all. Jerry Springer passed away. Everybody who lives in the world of 2023 knows Jerry Springer from his outlandish TV shows and the things that we've, been able to grow up watching. I'm not gonna lie. I was that person that recorded Jerry Springer, that watched Jerry Springer, that we would talk about Jerry Springer in school. Like, Jerry Springer was a thing. It was like one of the first realistic thing where people were putting their business out there for the world to have a comment on. And Jerry Springer was the foundation of what later has become reality TVs and all of those kind of things. So I will say salute to Jerry Springer and what he was able to bring to the world while he was here. Jerry Springer, the show lived on forever. Then, Steve Wilkos had a show. So those kind of things lived on. It is very interesting, just the impact that he had. I know a lot of people, when Jerry Springer died, they were like, oh my gosh, what he did. I can't believe that we're celebrating that. And I think that there is a place for all of us. I think sometimes we get so caught up in, that may not be you that could have been on Jerry Springer, but you may have known somebody that could be on Jerry Springer. So we get kind of caught up in the flow of life and what the content does. And what I will do is challenge you. If you don't like that kind of content, then support the opposite side of content where the content is very wholesome and all. You have to support those things. It kind of leads me into one of the other things that we were talking that came up this week is Real Housewives of Atlanta season 15 comes on May 17th at 8 p.m. on Bravo. That is not a paid sponsorship. That is just a true statement. And so everybody is doing the press rounds of Real Housewives season 15. I will say, I've seen a lot of the press. I've seen a lot of the commentary. Season 15, the first episode, it pops off. I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all now, it pops the pop to the pop. I'm going to go ahead and give a just an indicator and say this. It is somebody who we're going to refer to for for episode 1 as the Clucker. The Clucker. I want you to understand they're going to be the Clucker for for episode 1, season 15. I want you to be ready for the review next week, but tell me who you think the Clucker is going to be for season 1. The Clucker is somebody who they love to cluck. And I want you to know why we gave this person this nickname. But season 15, again, they're doing this the rounds, and I've been seeing the comments, and they talked about some things about people and what they bring to the show, and activated. I've been seeing all of those kind of comments, right? So I'm kind of here to ask you guys a few questions about that. When you watch a reality show, if every person was the same person, then would it be reality? If every person brought the same characteristics to the show, if you had the person who didn't mind speaking their mind all the time, if you had the person who was always traveling with information all the time, if you had the person who kind of stayed in between and was Switzerland all the time, if you didn't have all of these different people and everybody was just the person who wanted to bring information each time and nobody was the person who called everybody out on it, then would that be real life? In your real life, are you and your friends all the same? Are you and your friends, do you react to things the same? Is your daily life the same? It's not, in my opinion. So I think it's very weird for people to feel that one person's story or one person's real life has to be over zealous or over messy to be entertaining. And then it leads to the second part of that. When you watch reality shows, specifically reality shows that have a minority or large black cast, right? A lot of times I feel like the black community will be the first to be like, oh, I cannot watch that because it was just too negative. Or I can, it became too boring. Or it became, they always were fighting over the same thing. Or, we have all of these comments about it. Or, such was good, but everybody else, they boring because, what they bring. And then it makes me say, well, what makes a person boring? Because their reality may not be the same as the person that they're on the cast with. But also, shouldn't we have a well-rounded representation of what, if it's an all-woman cast, all women look like, or all males, or a mixture cast? We should have a well-rounded representation. If you don't have that, then I feel like that's where you should have the arguments at. I think when people watch these shows, they like people for different parts of that. And I think it should be okay that that people are well-rounded. Because if you look at a reality show, sometimes you don't want to be those people. You may look and you may say, person X, the way they handle their life, and the way that they, may handle their relationships or their businesses, I'm not them. But you can look to the person A and say, well, I'm them. I relate to them. That's a good representation. If you're going to have people on reality shows, they should represent such. I was saying all of that tangent to say, y'all, I think we have to really watch how we speak as it relates to the representation of people on TV. We can't complain about not seeing enough of the wholesome shows if we don't support those shows. We can't complain about not seeing enough of the characters that represent what we would like to show for us if we don't support those. And those characters get this bad rap because they're not as entertaining. I think no other shows, you look at shows like Chrisley's Knows Best. Chrisley's Knows Best is a reality show and they have their back and forth with the kids and all of these kind of things, but it's okay that show is pretty wholesome. They may have had their things outside of the TV show, but the show for the most part was pretty wholesome. That set demographic of people wasn't mad at a wholesome show. It's only in certain areas where people become very upset or that's not entertaining to them because the show has a layer of wholesomeness to it. So I think we have to be very careful on that when we're wanting more programming for certain demographics and certain communities, if we're not supporting those people and allowing all stories to be told. I think that gets a little blurry. You can't be like, well, all I want to see is Bad Boys Club on Zeus Network, but then get mad if you're be like, that's all they show of us. If you don't support the opposite of the Sweetie Pies and the Brett Loves Judy, they have some drama, but it's, pretty wholesome for the most part, with them. If you don't support those shows, then they don't continue to make those shows. So May 7th, 8 p.m. on Bravo. Please watch and support the Real Housewives of Atlanta. The season comes off, like I said, pretty fire. You get to see some interesting tidbits. After that episode, I will be back here to give my insight on what that looks like for season 15 premiere and the first episode. So be prepared because it will be available after that episode. Be prepared because it's going to be here. And then, you know, it's just a few other things that I've seen online this week that had me discussing it. You know, I think I saw a picture of Lil Baby, and when I saw the picture, it was the comments, and people were dragging how he looked, you know, in his body. And I'm like, is it okay to body shame him just because he's a male? No, I don't think so. I think that we have become a world that we celebrate the downfall and the hurt of other people. I think we definitely celebrate that, and that can be a lot. You know, like, he may be unbothered by it, but even when I saw the comments, I was like, that's not okay. Like, that's really, really not okay. That's the kind of thing that people log on, and that's the thing that they have to see, or that's the thing that they're, you know, that brings into the energy that is brought into their life when they're just trying to live and do what they would do. I'm speaking, and I say that, you know, even in living in my own world, in my own, you know, my own life of things. I will say that I have had my share of anxious moments over the last, you know, weeks, months with different things. And I think a lot of it has come from, you know, when I don't read blogs and stuff, y'all. Oddly enough, people, you know, if you know me personally, you know, you'd be like, well, no, he doesn't. I don't read blogs or any of that stuff. I will look at like Twitter or something, or Instagram, but I don't read blogs. And so even when it comes to people sending me stuff that is on blogs, or me seeing headlines of people's story that are on blogs, or reading any of it, I realized a lot of the energy that it brought into me. It made me kind of anxious, even for people I didn't know. You know, and so it made me really look at like what it was I was bringing into my spiritual psyche and my own world. Because yeah, it wasn't a good feeling. So it also made me say, okay, well, I have these community of people that I'm talking to, so while I'm having this review or rant or whatever, if it's anything that you guys do to deal with anxiousness, or to deal with uneasiness, or any relaxing techniques or any of that, drop it below. I would love to hear it, y'all. Just to kind of understand how you guys move in that world, and understand what happens when that, you know, I'm for the most part a pretty kind of type person. So when I feel anxious, it's like, oh, this is different. So I'm asking you guys for some insight into what that looks like, and what that looks like. This is a community of people, so why not? Let's find out what that looks like from y'all. Drop it below. And yeah, we're going to continue to give you more content over here. I'm going to continue to figure out the things that you do like. You know, it's very interesting because I had somebody who was like, you should host a show, and you should do like reunions and all that. And I never even looked at myself in that way, y'all. So I would love to hear some of your feedback on that. Like, this is me kind of asking you a lot more of the things that what you see, and what you know, what you are ready to see. So we have Unapologetically here, but I would love to get some feedback on, you know, anxious or stressed behaviors and how you relax, and some feedback on what would y'all like to see. Would y'all like to see me do some more hosting and things like that? If so, then drop it below also. I am, again, thankful for this opportunity with y'all. I'm wearing if in my bag was a person, somebody, you know, reached out and was like, that's not the proper language. This is what the shirt says, though. So this is, the shirt is shirting, and the shirt is saying what the shirt says. So the shirt I'm doing with the Clucker is doing on episode 1 of season 15. FYI, y'all, I knew I was doing that intentionally. But the shirt is doing what it is. So if you would like to buy that, you can buy that at thenewmeaning.com. If you would like to schedule a VIP session, you can go to the link that is right there to schedule your VIP session. And continue to support, like, share, subscribe, tell somebody about the channel. And until next week, when I come back with a review for y'all for season 15 of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Thank y'all so much for watching Unapologetically.